Dear Mooji, much love from Poland. I would like to speak directly about the most troublesome issue. I do inquiry since about a year. When I keep quiet and simply stop entertaining the mind, something burns inside. It is an energy, and then in brackets, mostly around the solar plexus. And I see that this energy in its root contains some big fears. Fear of death, fear of pain, and fear of non-existence. Sometimes, when I dig deep enough, there's a great pain, and it feels like this energy is going to take away the body. Often, after that comes a sense of peace and space. This energy seems to come before thought. Should I dig more deeply until this energy goes away completely? I would also like to say that experientially it's hard to detach from the sense of me during that energy inquiry, because even if pain and attention of that pain is observed, pain is still painful and difficult to bear. Namasté, Alan. With anybody who really begins the process to plunge inwardly, or to be very still and allow the question to arise, what sees or perceives all of this? And without going merely for an intellectual or a mental answer, hold very quietly, very still, and keep the question alive more than hunting for the answer only. Try to understand the question, what the question is triggering or exposing. What perceives all of this? First of all of this is perceived, but what is the perceiver of it? You know, the sense I jumps up first, but even I also is perceived. You see? As soon as we begin to hold the attention with this kind of question, it is not uncommon that we start to experience either some cathartic reactions, such as strong emotions coming up, tearfulness. Sometimes resistance will come, doubts will come, fears will come up. These are not indicators that something is wrong. They're an indicator that something has been touched which so far hasn't been exposed by any kind of practice. But now, by the force of the inquiry, it's like sticking your finger in an ant's nest. So all this stuff is coming to the surface. What are you to do about it? Well, I don't recommend that you run about in a panic state trying to put out fires. Just keep quiet and allow the effects that arise to somehow happen inside the body and to express what is coming up. You don't have to interfere. You, the witness of all that activity, you don't have to interfere, don't interpret, don't judge. But you can observe, you see. So I see that this energy in its root contains big fear, because this is the energetic reaction. Because you say, when I keep quiet and simply stop entertaining the mind, something begins to burn inside. Listen again. When I simply stop entertaining the mind, when I'm not entertaining the mind, meaning that I'm not identifying with it, I'm not giving energy to it, I'm just keeping quiet, then what happens is that something starts to burn inside, like a fire comes up inside. And many people know this fire, you see. It is an energy mostly felt around the solar plexus, and I see that this energy in its root contains some big fears, like the fear of death. This is a common a common experience for people. A fear I'm going to die, the fear of pain, and the fear of non-existence. Big ones. If you continue, it's almost like something inside is saying, if you continue with this, you're going to be finished. Listen, please. If you continue with this practice, trying to find out who you are and all of this thing, it's almost like a voice or some presence is saying, you do this, I'm going to punish you with death. I'm going to send you fears. You're going to not exist anymore. Who is it speaking to? Who is being threatened by these fears, you see? You have to find out. Now your insides are on fire. Because the fear is being believed also. That something may actually happen. Sometimes people start to breathe. The breathing is going, but the breathing is a fact. I can't say, well, it doesn't exist. The breathing, the reaction, panic attack is coming because it feels as though you've gone too far. You've gone too far. Why don't you just be a nice little person and just read your books and everything and, have some quiet understanding, forget why you have to be digging so deep. Why must you be digging so deep? Take some of that and take some of that. You see. Then many people go, enough. I'll be good. This path is not for me, it's too painful. Too much fire there. Sometimes when I dig deep enough, there's great pain. And it feels like this energy is going to take the body away. Some of you know this or not? Yeah. Like, my God, you say the body itself is going to go if I persist with this. But is it real? Is it true? Who is it speaking to? Is it the one who is afraid? Who is the one who is afraid? And what is aware of the one who is afraid? And if there's one who is afraid, can this one be found? Can it be identified? Now you have to find out. You have to use all your artillery, because the mind is going to use all its artillery. You have to, what is your artillery? Run and hide under the bed or what? Often after that comes a great sense of peace and space. But not if you panic, not if you run. Then that will hide this great sense of peace and space. This energy seems to come before thoughts. Who can endure such an attack or an assault from the mind, you see? It has seemed like this dark side of the mind has got a lot of people hostage. The mind is your mafia. The mafia doesn't let anybody go. A rare one escaped through the net. That one they call a Buddha. So often after this comes a great sense of peace and space. This also you know. All that is written here you know. When you have had such a victory, then the next assault you're not so afraid. The first assault, your knees will turn to water. The first assault from the mind, the big wave, the tsunami, and your knees will turn to water. But you survive. The second assault, you're ready. The third, very weak. The fourth, you're calling it, come. Then the mind is, come. The fifth, there's no fifth. Now the question, should I dig more deeply until this energy goes away completely? So there's already a sense that if I dig deeply, pain comes, roar, but then somehow in coming up like that, it's also emptying its energy. Should I dig more deeply? Because the more deeper you dig, the more the pain seems to get excited, no? should I dig more deeply until this energy goes away completely? This means this from experience. Each time I go down, plunge inside, look inside this, fear, something is coming up, fear is going. But now you're not running now. You say, okay, if I'm going to die here. I'm not going to die running. Let's die here. So now you look out of that conviction, and what happened? The energy is receding. I would also like to say that experientially it's hard to detach from the sense of me during that energy inquiry. Why? Because if there's an assault, it's the me who is under the attack, not the self, not the pure self. Do we know the difference or not? Somehow the self is still some way sheltering or in some partnership with identity, with the me sense. You may ask, but how is the self doing that? Somehow this possibility is there that some power comes from the self also to identify with the non-self, which also arises from the self. Experientially, it's hard to detach from the sense of me during the inquiry. Also, that is observed. During the inquiry, there's still a sense of the me who is feeling this turbulence, and there's also the weakness of this. Because even if pain and attention of that pain is observed, even if pain and the attention of the pain is observed, pain is still painful and difficult to bear. Yeah. Even if you observe it, it doesn't mean that it just goes away. It's still there. But the one on whom it is impacting is thinning away, cannot hold any power. Then also the pain cannot continue. If it is pain, then it becomes pure pain. But there is no psychological suffering of the pain. Psychological suffering, the feeling, oh, why is this happening to me? And I don't know, and I can't be. That energizes pain, gives more power to pain. But there's pure pain. And that pure pain is felt without any identity, without interpretation. It's simply there as a very powerful phenomenon. But also, simultaneously, it is there. The witnessing of that pain and awareness. And you may say, but why doesn't it go away? Realizing who you are doesn't necessarily mean that pure pain goes away. Maybe pain is there for a while. But gradually also that will go. Will also go. So, Alan, I hope you follow all of that. Good.